Whoa. We're back on the Flags and Whistles podcast.
It's been too long. It's been far too long.
Whoa.
But after almost 2-month hiatus, Carson and I are back in Keene and back to delivering some NFL content today with Carson. You want to introduce the bit?
We are going to be looking at the free agents. Like we're not going to look at every single free agent. We'd be here for hours. But we're going to be looking at different free agents and kind of giving our takes, which we've already talked about and we've agreed on most of them. We have a couple to discuss on where we think they'll go. Real quick, I just pulled up the last podcast was an hour long.
Yeah,
with
Dylan. I don't think
this
it'll
is
be
not
that.
going to be an hour long. It's going to be quick. It's going to be short and sweet. But it came out on November 18th. So it has been over 2 months.
3 months, damn near.
Very close. Very close to 3 months.
Yeah. So a lot has happened.
We have a lot of viewers. All 50 views from the last podcast have been sitting on the edge of their seat waiting for this moment.
So we are back. And we'll jump right in. All right. So this is free agency landing spots. 2026. There's obviously over 100 free agents. We're going to go over just about 6 of them today.
6 or 7.
Classic. So we'll be looking at Malik Willis, Breece Hall, George Pickens, Trey Hendrickson, Aaron Rodgers, and Kyle Pitts. So those guys all have a market, kind of, or they have some kind of interesting situation surrounding them. And so we'll jump right into it with one of the most, how do I say?
I don't know who you're talking about.
Not controversial, but just one of the most, I don't know.
Who are you talking about?
Kyle Pitts.
Oh, okay.
He had a great year, but every year this is going to be Kyle Pitts' year. This year it actually kind of happened, which makes his free agency conversation even more interesting because there's a lot of teams that are in for him. This year he's 25, so he's been in the league for a while, but he's 25. But he had 88 catches for 928 yards and 5 touchdowns. And I don't know, he put up very good numbers for Atlanta, was kind of their number one guy. Gave both Kirk Cousins and the other guy, what's his name?
I'm lagging too. It's okay.
Michael Penix. So big market for him, probably looking at around $15 million a year, multi-year deal. Carson, you want to reveal who we think he'll sign with?
First off, I do want to say, I think, especially at the tight end position, it's so hard to be a really good tight end on a bad team and like significantly help your team. Like, and I feel like that's the case with a couple other positions, but I think tight end specifically, like you're not a big enough piece of the offense to turn the offense from like medium to good to great type of thing. Mm-hmm. And I feel really bad for any like tight end that is just stuck on a bad team because I feel like it's so hard. You as a tight end, like you half the time your job is to block, half the time it is to actually catch a pass. And if you're the only actual offensive weapon, you don't really catch passes because they know that they're going to pass to you. So I do say for Kyle Pitts to have had as good of a season as he did with the Falcons, who are mediocre, it's going to help him in this situation. So our opinion is that he will go to the New York Giants.
The Big Apple. They play in New Jersey, though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I've never liked that about them.
MetLife Stadium.
Yeah. Should be hosting the final of the World Cup.
Yes.
I also don't like that, but that's a different topic.
Well, in 30 seconds, give me a reason on why you think that some other place should host the World Cup final.
Because
where?
Okay, so think of all the stadiums in like the continent of North America. I don't think that MetLife Stadium is genuinely cool enough. Or
I don't think it's
has
cool
anything
enough. Sure.
interesting enough besides capacity to host such a globally like just huge event.
Except for the fact that it's New York City.
It's New Jersey though.
But it's right there. Okay, we're back to
all right,
football.
we're back. Okay.
So conversation though. We'll put that in the bank.
Yeah. So we think Kyle Pitts will sign for the Giants. It's for a couple reasons. One, with Harbaugh coming in as the new head coach, obviously he ran a system in Baltimore that heavily relied on tight ends, on athletic tight ends that were kind of provided mismatches for linebackers. You think about Mark Andrews, then they drafted Isaiah Likely. He kind of has a similar, he's the big-bodied frame who can catch. Kyle Pitts is that and more when he is in the right system and when he has quarterback play.
Which he might have.
Which he might have with Jackson Dart, right? So he was dealing with two quarterbacks in Atlanta who, Kirk Cousins at the end of his career and Michael Penix, who's, I mean, he's all right, but he's not.
I think he could show up big time in the future, but it's going to take maybe a different team or
some time.
A different surrounding group.
Yeah, but he was able to get it done there. I think here you put him on an offense in the Giants that hopefully has a healthy Cam Scatterbo and Jackson Dart. Also Tyrone Tracy, Wan'Dale Robinson if he re-signs. You put him in there, he instantly becomes kind of an X factor for that offense, who right now is starting Theo Johnson at tight end, and he's all right, but he's not Kyle Pitts.
I feel like this is going so far into like a perfect world for the Giants, but you could almost put it as like a Chiefs when they had Kelsey Hill, and then also, you know, they had so many different running backs over those years, but like prime Kareem Hunt. It was like, how do you stop that offense? Because you've got a good, almost cussed. Thank you so much for stopping me, my conscience. A good running back, good wide receivers, good tight end. You just throw it to one of the opens guys or hand it down the middle, and it works.
Yeah.
So I feel like Kyle Pitts could bring that to add just another like layer of unknown for the defense.
I agree. I mean, the Giants have cap room to spend. Obviously, situations change in free agency. All of this is pending, retirements, people signing, people getting hurt, whatever. But we think that Kyle Pitts could provide instant X factor, instant safety blanket for a young quarterback, and mesh right into that Harbaugh offense. And maybe there'll be something in the Big Apple. You never know. You never know.
Yeah.
They could cook. They're definitely ahead of the Jets in terms of cooking. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess we'll see. And then with that being said, I think we move on. Keep this rolling.
Yeah, and let's keep this rolling right to a guy who's currently on the Jets, Breece Hall.
There we go.
All right, so Carson, take it away.
Well, we believe that Breece Hall, this is our opinion, and this is all opinion. This is influenced by
free
research.
Agency is. I mean, it's all opinion and a little bit of stats.
Breece Hall to the Kansas City Chiefs. And boy, oh boy, as a Chiefs fan, would I love that. I'm going to give you a couple different statistics about the Chiefs' run game this season and how bad it was. In terms of rush yards per game, they were ranked 24th in the league with an average of 106.6 rush yards per game. In terms of yards per carry, they were ranked number 20th with 4.2 yards per carry. And then rushing touchdowns, 18th with 15, and rush play percentage, 40%. So about just under half. But you looked at, so they didn't have Pacheco for a couple weeks this season.
Yep.
And Kareem Hunt had to kind of carry the run game for the Chiefs offense. They had other guys that they could put in, never did anything. I always liked Brashad Smith.
It's a nice rookie.
I thought he was really good. And I thought that Andy Reid should have played him more. He was more of a receiving back, but maybe down the road he might get some time. However, the Chiefs are known to bring in dudes like this. Like, over the last 10 years, they always just randomly bring in like a running back that has a history only for like a year. Look at like Le'Veon Bell, for example. We had Bell for like a year. And we do that with wide receivers too. So I think this is very Chiefs-esque. And also, I don't think Isaiah Pacheco is the answer. He was for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I don't know what the deal was this year. And then Kareem Hunt, same thing. Not the same Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is getting old, to be fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think both of those running backs, Pacheco and Hunt, both serviceable running backs. But when you think about the Chiefs, you think about such a multifaceted offense where every player is kind of a star in their position. Like, that's kind of the habit I think that Kansas City fans have gotten used to, is just like we have guys that line up and all of them are stars.
Right.
Breece Hall this season had 1,065 rush yards, which is 15th in the NFL on one of the worst teams in the NFL, in the Jets. And the Jets are obviously in that rebuild mode. They traded away a lot of their defense in terms like Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner. They're building draft capital. Breece Hall, to let him walk as a free agent, I think would kind of be a wise decision for the Jets as they can reevaluate everything offensively. And it's perfect for the Chiefs. He's 24 years old, so he's young. He's not kind of one of those guys like a Le'Veon Bell who is in like the latter stages of his career. And think about it. He takes so much pressure off of Patrick Mahomes when he comes back from injury. If Kelsey comes back, he takes pressure off Kelsey having to be super productive as he gets older. He's kind of exactly what they want. He's a workhorse running back who can catch balls out of the backfield and provides, on a multi-year deal, a great stopgap.
Also, on a Chiefs level, and this is the last thing I'll say about before we move on, but on the Chiefs level of offense and how they play, especially with Eric Bieniemy coming back as the offensive coordinator, you look at the Chiefs Super Bowls while Bieniemy was the offensive coordinator, and my favorite play ever is that Damian Williams touchdown.
Damian Williams,
against,
that's a ball knowledge.
That's an OG player right there.
Yeah.
And I remember even honestly throughout the whole playoffs, I think it was in 2019, but like he was able to be that guy that when the offense couldn't get going, he got the offense going. And I think one of the reasons that obviously they passed for 60% of the time this year, yes, you have Patrick Mahomes, but it's also like, does having a running back open up more opportunities for your offense, which is kind of what you were saying?
Yeah.
And I think that the answer is yes, and I think that they're 100% going to find that in Breece Hall or somebody else. And I would not like to see that a rookie.
Yep.
That's my biggest thing. I don't want them to draft a rookie.
Yep. Boom. So that's that sorted. We'll head to another interesting one, another polarizing player. We'll go to George Pickens, currently with the Cowboys and a pending free agent. So Pickens, obviously, he was traded from the Steelers, and this year just broke out completely. Just under 1,500 yards, 1,400, and 9 touchdowns. And I think one of the greatest things about Pickens and the Cowboys this year was how far he elevated Dak Prescott.
True.
Like Dak Prescott was a top 5 quarterback in the NFL this year, and I think part of it was because he didn't just have to force throws to CeeDee Lamb. He had 2 X-factor wide receivers, and Pickens reaped the benefits of that. Probably he'll make around $30 million this year. So here's where we get into an interesting conversation, which is for $28 million, the Cowboys could franchise tag him, and he would stick around for another year, no matter what. Do we think that's going to happen, or could we go with Carson and I's maybe take?
This one came out of nowhere when we were doing some research.
Right? PFF says that the Jets are the best candidate. I disagree. Carson disagrees. I think the Bills could be a great spot for George Pickens.
It would be. And, when we were kind of going over this in the moments we had before we hit record on this podcast, we kind of talked about a comparison to Stephon Diggs when he was on the Bills and how much he elevated the offense of the Bills. Now, the only thing is that, and this honestly contradicts what I was saying, but I'm just kind of playing the other side, is do you think that the Bills need him as much as he needs the Bills type of thing in terms of is Pickens moving to the Bills going to just elevate their offense and now take them to the Super Bowl? Maybe.
Yeah. We are looking, remember, at a new front office and coaching staff in Buffalo.
That's the thing.
So there's a lot of uncertainty there. What I see in George Pickens is one of, if not the best, wide receiver, right?
Yeah.
He's a jump ball specialist, contested, you name it, one-handed, he's got it, right? He would thrive with Josh Allen, obviously. And Josh Allen right now, in terms of passing weapons, he's got his tight ends. He's got Shakir, who's like a yak guy, like mid-range, but he's not, a consistent deep threat like George Pickens is.
Yeah.
I think it would be interesting. But the realist in me says the Cowboys
keep him around.
They know how good he is. Why would you just let him walk?
If you have the opportunity to do so.
Yeah.
Now, then that kind of brings up the idea of what do they do with CeeDee Lamb?
I mean, they're paying him right now $34 million a year.
Yeah, but like at this point, you're paying him $34 million a year, and your wide receiver 2 is outperforming
1B.
him.
Yeah, 2-1B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting
interesting.
thing because do they really want to keep? It really comes down, honestly, I think, to how much do they believe in CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I guarantee you that they believe in George Pickens. Is the George Pickens dollar amount worth it to them in terms of do we think that we want to – because you franchise a guy like that, that's saying he's our best guy.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to do about CeeDee Lamb at that point?
I don't know. I mean,
don't know.
It's tough. It's tough. But I think the be-all, end-all of our take is he will be franchise tagged by the Cowboys. That's what all the experts are saying. But if not, George Pickens in Buffalo
Put it down now.
would be pretty sick.
If we called it, maybe
Imagine,
that could be the thing that changes our life, bro.
yeah, we call this one.
Yeah.
Imagine George Pickens, though, and Bills Mafia.
It would go crazy.
Like,
that's the thing,
that's
bro.
like
That's what I'm saying about Stephon Diggs, bro.
Peanut butter and jelly.
It's
You know?
barbecue chicken
It's
from
barbecue chicken from there. All right. Enough of that. Let's jump to.
You want to hit on the defensive side of things with Trey Hendrickson?
Let's hit it because this is
Let's
my
do it.
favorite one.
Let's do it. Well, take it down.
All right. So, talk about Trey Hendrickson, defensive end with the Bengals. So, he's 31 years old, right? He's been having these contract disputes with the Bengals, who are notoriously bad at just paying people what they're worth. A couple years ago, this guy had 17 and a half sacks and 4 straight Pro Bowls. The Bengals didn't want to lock him down. So now last year he's coming off of kind of an injury. He had 4 sacks in 7 games in 2025. And he got a 1-year, $29 million deal from the Bengals. It doesn't look like he's going to stick around. He maybe has a price drop just because that injury kind of limited him.
Sure.
So he's not affordable, but he's a kind of affordable option for some teams. And my team, the Carolina Panthers, I think are the best fit for Trey Hendrickson. Dan Morgan, our GM, had said it. He said that he's pursuing pass rushers in the draft, in free agency. And I don't really think there's anything better than Hendrickson around. The Panthers had 2 players hit 5 sacks, which was Derek Brown, who's kind of a defensive stalwart, and Nick Scorton, who's a rookie. They ranked 28th in sacks and were the worst in the league in pressures. I think Trey Hendrickson on a 1 to 2 year deal comes in and completely flips that script, provides immediate pass rush. He's good stopping the run. And I think that takes the Panthers into winning their division and becoming a dark horse contender.
I agree with exactly what you're saying, especially in that last kind of statement you had. But also, I think it gives Panthers fans a bigger belief to know, okay, yes, you made the playoffs this year. Mm-hmm. And it's a shame that we didn't have the podcast going during the playoffs, but circumstances are circumstances.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah. So, but, I mean, this is the best time to be a Panthers fan. You are so optimistic going into next season. I know you are.
It's almost scary how optimistic I am right now.
Right, but I feel like it's realistic optimism in terms of you aren't thinking that the Panthers are the next Super Bowl team right now.
No.
However, you're thinking, okay, they've got a good team. They can put things together. They really need just a couple more pieces, and then they unlock more potential because you already saw that happen. Well, Trey Hendrickson could be a piece that does that for them.
I think so. I don't know. He fits the mold of a Panther. Like Dan Morgan, when he played for the Panthers, he was like obviously a linebacker. He's heavy on the defense. He likes those kind of like nasty, gritty players. And I think Trey Hendrickson is just that. He's 31 years old. I think you get at least 2 good years out of him with at least like 10 sacks a season. That's all we're looking for, baby. I mean,
Panthers to the Super Bowl. Let's do it.
All right. We just have a couple players left now.
Talking about old guys. Let's keep it old.
You want to keep it old? All right. Hit it off.
Aaron Rodgers.
A-Rod.
Possibly.
Not the baseball one.
When you were talking about controversial things, Aaron Rodgers could be the most controversial player in the NFL in terms of opinion.
Mm.
That guy is all over the place. But honestly, you got to love it too.
Yeah.
I mean, you might not love his opinions, but you got to love the fact that the guy just doesn't care.
Oh, no. He does
He
not
gives
give it.
no anythings about.
That's a good catch again.
Hey, no. Thank you. He gives no anythings, bro. No bleeps
Yeah.
about anything that he says. And for some reason, it hasn't bit him in the butt yet. And I have no idea how. But he's at the Steelers. He's 42 years old. And the biggest talking point on why he might re-sign with the Steelers is because of that new coaching staff.
Mike McCarthy.
So, McCarthy comes back to Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he saw that.
He's from Pittsburgh, right?
Exactly my
Yeah.
point. He had that whole like, oh my God,
Like,
Pittsburgh,
the
I'm
towel
so home,
and-
blah, blah, blah.
Not to clown Mike McCarthy, but
He's a clownable guy. Let's be real. Rodgers and McCarthy know the system at the Packers. They already know the system together. Quite frankly, when you have Aaron Rodgers, how much is a head coach really doing anything at that point? That's also an opinion for another day about like pro players and coaches. I think it's weird, but we think he's going to stay around.
I think so.
I think he's going to stay around.
I think, and I mean, obviously this is an opinion. No idea what's going on behind the scenes in Pittsburgh. But you'd have to think that Aaron Rodgers had a lot of influence in that decision.
Yeah.
I think that the only reason that he was like, all right, I'll come back and I won't retire is if you get me the coach that I want. They went out, they got him the coach that they want. Because there's nothing really spectacular about Mike McCarthy. Yes, he had success with the Packers, less so with the Cowboys. I mean, is he that much of an improvement on Mike Tomlin? I don't think so. I think Pittsburgh was just getting tired of Mike Tomlin, and Mike Tomlin was kind of getting tired of Pittsburgh.
That's another thing that's definitely worth talking about is I think Mike Tomlin's exit was long overdue.
Overdue, but like the guy
But
was
also not.
consistent. Like
He was just consistently like mid, bro. Every single year was it's like a copy paste.
Yeah,
It's like a copy paste. But you got to give credit to Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old,
still slinging it.
still slinging it at a high level.
Yeah,
At a high level. Like there's guys that, especially Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I'd hate to compare him to Tom Brady, but like similar age,
Yeah.
and they still got it.
yeah.
There's other guys, they hit 38 and they kind of fall off.
Less like some guys hit their mid 30s, early 30s, and it's just like no.
Especially after Rodgers' previous season, where everyone's like, "Oh my God!" You know, you've seen the meme, you know, with the flag and everything,
Yeah.
and the Jets. Everyone's thinking like, "Oh, he's just going to Pittsburgh to finish his career for no reason. Like this is nothing."
Yeah,
And then he's like, "Nah, just kidding. I've got time. I've got time left."
not bad.
So you never know what could happen there.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
that's our opinion.
yeah. And the other part of that conversation is, like if he does resign, because I think really the options for Aaron Rodgers are retire or resign only with the Steelers. I think the only thing that would change that is if the Steelers were to randomly go out and get a quarterback, which I don't think they will. They don't really have a lot of draft capital. They don't have a lot of cap space. You could maybe think about a trade, someone like Kyler Murray, who's kind of on his way out.
He doesn't even fit the Pittsburgh
But he
style.
doesn't. He's not that guy. And again, McCarthy, Rodgers, like that's a duo that happened before. They're gonna run it back again. Aaron Rodgers stays in the Steel City.
The other thing we have down here is if he gets 13 touchdown passes, he'll pass Peyton Manning for third most in touchdown hit in NFL history.
I mean, that's motivation alone.
I feel like that's motivation, but also a lot of those guys. I mean, you never know though because those guys will be like, "Nah, like I don't care about that kind of stuff, man."
They care about that shit.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. So,
All right, we have one more,
keep it rolling.
and it's another quarterback, and it's another quarterback out of the Green Bay system of quarterbacks, the newest one to come out, kind of Malik Willis.
This one is our probably most debated.
Because this could go so many ways. It really
most
could.
debated.
Malik Willis, let's just say this. He's 26 years old. He was drafted, I think, 3 years ago out of Liberty.
Yep.
He has played 6 games, 6 career starts in his entire career. 6 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, 79% completion percentage. The signs are there that he is a potential NFL starter. I think what makes this interesting is, aside from Fernando Mendoza, and I have my own thoughts about Mendoza, and that'll be a different thing when we talk about the draft. But aside from Mendoza, this is not a very good quarterback class. So a lot of teams are going to be overpaying for a quarterback who is, 1, a free agent, and 2, shows signs of being good, but not necessarily concretely. You know, there's no established quarterback. Malik Willis is somebody that you're going to have to take a shot on. You're going to have to pay him a lot of money because there's not a lot of other guys out there who are worth getting.
Also, you got to kind of think about the fact too that like maybe you have the Malik Willis of the draft,
Right.
but then you have the fact that he's got time
He's
in
26.
the league. He knows he doesn't have 100% in game experience, like in terms of like a full season type of thing.
Yeah.
But he's been in facilities. He's been in game day environments. He kind of knows systems.
He's won them games.
He knows how to work as an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
He hasn't proved that he can work at an exceptional level yet, but that's because he simply hasn't had the opportunity.
Exactly.
Which is just a Packers problem in my opinion anyways.
Yeah.
The Packers and their quarterbacks historically are just it's just like that. You just get one guy and they stick with him until he's done. Like,
Yeah.
It's kind of weird how they do that, but
yeah. And I mean, usually, like, whatever, with Favre and Rodgers and then Rodgers and Love. But, like, the thing is, like, Love and Malik Willis are roughly the same
too
age.
close to age.
So it's like one of them has to just come out and the other one has to go.
And I think they're going to hang on to Love
Oh, absolutely.
100%. So
That opens up. We have 3 potential teams. Carson, list them off.
all right. Oh, I kept that on myself the whole time. My bad. The
You're good,
camera's
you're
on me
good,
the
you're
whole
good.
time. The first one we're going to talk about is the Dolphins, and we have a maybe next to it,
Yeah.
which we'll get into.
Yep.
The Cardinals and the Browns.
And the Browns.
The Cardinals, I feel like, is also a maybe too.
I mean, they're all maybes, but for different reasons.
How much do the Cardinals care about Kyler Murray?
That's been one of the big questions this offseason is most people think that they're going to move on from him. He hasn't been bad, but he also hasn't elevated that team to anything really.
Nothing.
Um,
I think his size is his biggest lack.
and the injury history too.
Injury history, but I just think that he's one of those guys. He'll hang around on a team no matter what.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just don't really think if the Cardinals want to take strides, he hasn't shown enough for him to be the guy that's going to take them somewhere.
Yeah. And obviously, the Cardinals have weapons. I mean, they have the best, in my opinion, the best tight end in football in McBride. They have Marvin Harrison, James Conner, so they're running back. Like, there's pieces there where you wouldn't be throwing Malik Willis into, like, a situation where he's doomed because he doesn't have any help, and that would kind of justify the price tag. So I like the Cardinals for a fit for him. The Dolphins, I mean, Jeff Hafley, the defensive coordinator from the Packers, is now with the Dolphins. Probably part of the team that, no, never mind. Malik Willis was not drafted by the Packers. He was drafted by the Titans. Anyway, ignore that.
Talk about how the Titans should have hung on to him.
Yeah, would have avoided a whole thing. But Miami, Tua Tagovailoa, he's no longer an NFL starter. I think the writing is on the wall for him in terms of where his career is headed next.
I also think once you get McDaniels, now that he's out of there, there must have been some sort of bond there. Like they had, I don't know what the connection was. Like maybe they were just boys, because I always thought that they were too connected for how, like, their relationship was almost too close, and that really hurt the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So continue. And if you have Tyreek Hill saying that Tua is that bad of a quarterback. So.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on in Miami that it just throws the whole thing into uncertainty. But I think that Malik Willis is an option for the Dolphins and one that they should really consider because, like I said, there's really not that much out there that's better. And if you're any NFL team that doesn't really have the draft pick to draft essentially Mendoza and maybe a couple other quarterbacks, you got to go into the free agency. So the last team we have is the Browns, who notoriously have too many quarterbacks and don't know what to do with them. So this, I don't see it just because I think that the Browns invested way too much in that quarterback room to go and splash, like, I don't know, 30, 40 million on a new one. Obviously, they have Sanders. They have Dylan Gabriel. Who else do they have, Carson? Joe Flacco?
Yeah, they got him at the end.
Yeah.
That was a weird one, though. Like, he came in the end.
Yeah. But obviously, none of those guys are like a nailed-on QB1. In fact, I would argue that none of them are.
But the Browns fans, I think that there are Browns fans that would argue that Sanders is. And that's another conversation in the fact of should he have made the Pro Bowl.
No. I'm sorry. Like, that's not a conversation. No. Like,
That's nepotism in its
Yeah, that's
in
like
its
when
finest.
Boban Marjanovic made the NBA like All-Stars. It's just like that's just like because you have a following, and I'm a Boban guy. I'll put that out there. But I don't know. I think Malik Willis would be interesting because like the Cardinals, the Browns have a lot of weapons that I think could be fun for him to throw to. They have Harold Fannin, the tight end, who was I think a sleeper, and I'm a Ted McMillan guy. I think he was a sleeper for Offensive Rookie of the Year. He completely changed the Browns' passing game. Then you have Jerry Jeudy. You have
Which Jeudy could be a guy that like he used to be that guy.
yeah.
All it takes is him to kind of get something back, and I think he's still got it.
I think he's got it. And then I think that the Browns are going to target a wide receiver in the draft because I think if you pair Jeudy with a guy like Mekhi Lamon from USC, you got something there. So that's kind of where I'm at. I think out of those three, if I had to pick one, I would go with the Cardinals.
Really?
Yeah.
I would go with the Dolphins.
Okay. So come this summer, if you want to rewatch this podcast, and we could be completely wrong. He could go to a different team. But
Or he stays with the freaking Packers.
or that, although that'd be kind of weird.
That would be weird, but I'm just saying, you never know.
You never know.
And that's the problem with all of this free agent talk is you don't know. And we hope that you will stay watching the Flags and Whistles podcast. And until then, I'm Carson Flake, joined by Elias and Carson.
Good night.